So Mexico just elected their first female president, their first Jewish president, and first female president. Now, I'm going to give you the details. What does this mean for America? What are the policies that Mexico is going to pursue? So the very first female, the very first Jewish president, there was only 50,000 Jewish folks in Mexico to begin with. And Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo, the brand new president, the 66th president of Mexico, she won by a landslide. She won by 59% to 38%. It's, 20 percentage points. Absolute blowout. They didn't even break 40%, the opposition. What does this mean? That means that the Obrador, the current Mexico president, I guess the one that's going to get kicked out, the one who's been president for 6 years, well, we're going to get another 6 years of essentially Obrador policies. Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo is a different person, so you're going to have different nuanced policies here and there, but there's going to be a strong social safety net. They believe in social spending, and they're also against the war on drugs. So in Mexico, the president, there's 6-year terms and there's no re-election. So Obrador couldn't run again, but Obrador had picked Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo to be his chosen successor. Her 6-year term is going to begin on October 1st. And there's no re-elections, right? So that's interesting, right? Instead of having one 4-year, another 4-year term, instead just one 6-year term, and then you're out. Unless you're Putin and you get 25 years of being a terrorist. Or unless you're the president of Cameroon, you get to be the damn dictator for 40 fucking years. Because who gives a shit about democracy? A republic requires an election. So for all those assholes, we're a republic and not a democracy. Without the democracy, there is no republic. You got to have the consent of the government. At the very least, you got to have elections, fair elections. So people are talking about how Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo is a climate scientist. She's the 66th president. Obrador is 65th president. Let's talk about the drug war. So the drug war is still canceled. Marijuana is still legal in Mexico, and there is still no drug war. AMLO, that's Obrador. Apparently we're calling him AMLO. So the president right now, AMLO, he put an end to Mexico's drug war. It started under President Felipe Calderon, and exacerbated the violence associated with the cartels. Obrador says hugs, not bullets. And this is meant to target the systemic issues fueling the violence. Mexico sees about 30,000 crime-related deaths. What's America, like 100,000? An average of one journalist is killed each week in the embattled southern state of Chiapas. 14 political candidates have been killed by the cartels during this election season. 14 political candidates. How come America is not paying attention to right below the southern border? Let's see, how many murders happen in U.S. every year? So it's saying 45,000 Americans were killed by gunfire in 2020. So America has about 3 times the population. Was 126 million people in Mexico, 330 million people in the United States. So a little bit more than a third. But Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo is now the president, the female Jewish president of Mexico's 126 million people. And hopefully she does crack down on the crimes. A drug is just an inanimate object. It's the people behind it. It's the corruption and the crime that's associated with it. And for anybody who runs for office in Mexico, especially in Chiapas, 14 political candidates. I heard there was 99 killed like freaking 10 years ago. So America loves the drugs. They keep selling us the drugs, but we also keep exporting our war on drugs. So we got this schizophrenic policy in Mexico is basically saying, getting out of that. And the political candidates, people are standing up and running. It's weird how many people in America was like, I don't want the power, I don't want to say so. And yet in Mexico, they're sitting there saying, yes, we need to get the power because we need to clean this shit up. There's too much crime, there's too much shit. As long as the violence stays below our borders, then we'll keep on pretending that we have nothing to do with it. But it's America's voracious appetite. We got to get those drugs, got to get that Oxycontin, got to get that cocaine, meth, crack, whatever can be bought and sold. And as President Sheinbaum has pledged to invest in other green energy initiatives and electrify bus services across the nation. Bus services, transportation, these are good things. Sheinbaum has said that she will coordinate closely with the U.S. to reduce narco trafficking, human trafficking, arms flows, and money laundering. Good. Human trafficking? Why the fuck would human trafficking even happen? That is some sick fucking shit. Sheinbaum, Claudia. We're just Claudia Pardo. So Claudia is going to invest in domestic oil production, curbing government spending, cracking down on petrochemical theft that helps shore up foreign investment in the form of national bonds. Domestic oil production, curbing government spending, cracking down on petrochemical theft. The peso right now is actually at a 20-year peak. Mexico's economy is booming. It has a lot to do with being next to America, because those factories, those corporations go down there and build the factories for the cheaper labor. So that gives Mexico jobs and factories. The best performing major currency so far this year, according to Bloomberg, is the peso at a 20-year peak. They're saying something about high interest rates, extremely high remittances from the U.S., the possibility that companies could build factories. 20-year peak. Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo didn't just make history being elected the first female, but also the first Jewish president. In a country with one of the largest Catholic populations in the world. America loves Israel so goddamn much, you'd think we would have elected Bernie Sanders to be our president. She will be the first Jewish president in a country with one of the largest Catholic populations in the world. She's not religiously observant. Sheinbaum identifies as a cultural Jew. She's culturally Jewish. She's spoken about her heritage in the past. I totally understand this. I do not believe in any kind of God. Jesus was a great character, not even a real person. He's got some cool words and stuff. I grew up without religion. That's how my parents raised me. Sheinbaum 61 said in 2018 at a gathering hosted by a Jewish organization in Mexico City. But obviously the culture, it's in your blood. I was raised Catholic. So my Christianity, religion, there is no God. I am culturally Catholic. We start talking about morals. They didn't talk about morals in public schools. And when it comes to all the religions out there, I'm not a big religious person. In fact, I can't stand the religions. But that's how come we've been able to be such a good melting pot. Because we believe in freedom of religion. And if Jon Stewart and Sarah Silverman, Seinfeld, Larry David, I think the Jewish people are great. If Jon Stewart, Sarah Silverman, Seinfeld, and Larry David are emblematic of the Jewish people, then the Jewish people are hilarious. They are funny and cool and laid back and awesome in so many different ways. In fact, it's almost like, let's get rid of the other religions. Keep the Jews, because they're basically atheists who know what's up anyways. Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo's maternal grandparents were Jews who immigrated to Mexico from Bulgaria before the Holocaust, while her paternal grandparents had fled from Lithuania in the 1920s. Oh, why defend Lithuania? Why defend Bulgaria? Because you're going to have a refugee crisis. Sheinbaum's parents were born in Mexico. 50,000 Jewish people live in Mexico. The majority are settled in Mexico City and its surroundings. You got small communities in the cities of Monterrey, Guadalajara, Tijuana, Cancun, San Miguel de Allende, and Los Cabos. The first Jews arrived in Mexico in 1519. Along with the Spanish colonization, the community began to grow substantially. By the early 20th century, thousands of Jews fled from the Ottoman Empire to escape instability and anti-Semitism. Claudia is right on Palestine and Israel. I was curious. She's culturally Jewish. What does she think about Palestine and Israel? She thinks that a baby in Israel and a baby in Palestinian are both equal, and they are equally worthy of life, liberty, security, property. Claudia's Scheinbaum's win also comes at a critical time as the war between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip has displaced more than 1 million Palestinians and left more than 35,000 people dead, according to officials in Gaza. Since the beginning of the war last year, Scheinbaum has condemned attacks on civilians. She even called for a ceasefire and said she supports a two-state solution. Her stance echoed views she wrote in a 2009 letter to the editor of La Jornada, a Mexican newspaper, condemning what Scheinbaum described as the murder of Palestinian civilians during an Israeli bombing campaign in the Gaza Strip. So far, 39,000 brown Muslims have been killed in Israel's genocide. Israel does not believe in a two-state solution. America believes in a two-state solution. Israel thinks it's one state, and they keep stealing the land of Palestine. 39,000 brown Muslims have been killed. Well, you had October 6th, yeah, terrible, October 6th. This bullshit's been going on for fucking decades. Don't act like it just started goddamn last year. It started technically 1948. Oh, you want to put your land right here on top of a whole bunch of Palestinians, just like the Native Americans in America. They say about Claudia, her loyalties are with the oppressed and the downtrodden. So in the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, she sides with the former without rejecting the latter. She favors a two-state solution, which these days appears more untenable than in recent memory. Palestine here, Israel there. Stop invading, stop stealing, stop killing, stop raping, stealing, stop committing crimes against each other. You got a house, you got a house, you got land, you got a land. Now goddamn figure your own shit out. Claudia Scheinbaum begins her 6-year presidential term on October 1st. Her sheer arrival to the presidency, David said, will generate interest in Jewish Latin Americans' rich history and culture. Mexico's constitution does not allow re-election. The drug war wasn't a crackdown, it was hugs, not gunshots. He gave the army nationwide control of security, so kind of martial law. Plans to legalize the personal use of marijuana missed a October 24th, 2019 SCJN deadline, which was extended to April 30th, 2020, as users, growers, and businesses could not agree on the details. And then June 2021, the Supreme Court in effect legalized the recreational use of cannabis. So marijuana is still legal in Mexico. The drug war is not going strong. You do have the cartels. You do have a spillover of violence. Chiapas, 14 political candidates were murdered. These are martyrs. Martyrs for democracy. I know Americans who would never even stick their neck out and put their name on the damn ballot. What, be a city council person? Not for the honor of the thing, not for the power, not for the money, not for anybody or anything. They have no thoughts, they have no ideas, they have no agenda, they have no platform. They couldn't convince anybody to elect them, because why would I elect a piece of shit like you? But this just reminds me of that one candidate that was saying, see, I'm not afraid. I'm going to come after the cartels, and then he's going to end up getting shot in the fucking head. I was very impressed with that. I'm not a huge government man, but goddamn it, that's the fucking right way to do it. These criminal motherfuckers just going around committing. Is it natural law? Is there any law in Mexico? Is it Hobbes' state of nature down there? War of every man versus every man? Because if that's the case, then that means our lives are going to be short, brutal, barbaric. What's that? Hobbes, let's see. Life is short, nasty, brutish. If we have a war of every man versus every man, I don't see how long that life in nature would be solitary and poor and nasty and brutish and short. So war of every man versus every man, sure, you got the freedom to everybody and everything, but your life is going to be solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. I feel like you can only ignore all the violence that's happening just south of the border for so long. You can only ignore it for so long. So there's a little bit of an update about what's going on in Mexico with the brand new president for the last several months. We also got governor's races. Indiana has a governor's race. But I'm sure you know that, America, and so does Indiana. We're the ones that show the world how to do this democracy, how to do this republic, how to do the three branches of government, how to do federalism and the Bill of Rights and Constitution. I know you, America. I know you're paying attention to Utah, Montana, Washington, North Dakota, Missouri, Indiana, West Virginia, North Carolina, Vermont, New Hampshire, and what is that? What is that tiny little sliver there? Looks like it's below Maryland. Is that Delaware? And motherfucking Delaware. So Delaware, Indiana, Missouri, Montana, New Hampshire, North Carolina, North Dakota, Utah, Vermont, Washington, and West Virginia. They all got governor's elections. And since we care about our republic and we care about each other and we care about whether or not our system is working and including everybody. Yeah, America, I know you're paying attention. That's why I love you so much.